Welcome back to your daily therapy. Look, folks, they see it. They see you out here, like a puppet, pulling strings just to snatch a little bit of their attention. You light up like a damn Christmas tree the second they reply after hours, maybe even days. Let's not sugarcoat it. Every time you make the first move, you hand over your power. And here's the raw truth. Keep chasing, and they'll keep running. So, what if instead of running after them, you vanish? What if, instead of being the always there backup, you take a step back and reclaim your space? That's when the game flips. That's when they finally realize what they lost. And oh, trust me, it's gonna hit them harder than they ever expected. People are funny that way. They only value what they think they might lose. As long as you keep showing up, texting first, bending over backward, they'll assume you're on autopilot, stuck in their orbit. But the second you pull away, the moment you stop being their emotional crutch, that's when they start noticing the silence creeping in. And that silence? It's louder than anything you could have ever said. At first, they'll probably enjoy the space. They'll think, they'll text me soon. They always do. But give it a few days and the void you left will start gnawing at them. Suddenly, they're missing those little things. Your good morning texts, your energy, the way your presence used to make life a little brighter. Just like that, the tables turn. If this is someone new, that realization hits like a punch to the gut. They thought they had you wrapped around their finger, that you'd keep trying forever. But now they're left scratching their head wondering why you disappeared. That curiosity, that's the first clue. They miss you more than they'd ever admit out loud. And in a long-term relationship, the sting cuts even deeper. They got too comfortable, thought you'd always be there, always forgiving, always available. But your silence, that forces them to confront all the times they took you for granted. And just like that, it dawns on them. They miss the very thing they thought they didn't need. Imagine this. You're like a rare book, unique and irreplaceable. As long as you're sitting there on the shelf, they think, I'll read it later. But the second that book disappears, suddenly they can't stop thinking about how much time they wasted not flipping through your pages. Your absence becomes a mystery they can't stop obsessing over. But listen up. This isn't about playing some twisted game or manipulating someone into caring. This is about taking back your power. When you stop overgiving, when you stop offering yourself up like some discount, they realize the price they've paid by not appreciating you. Here's the beauty of it. Regret sneaks in slowly. They start remembering all the times you were there, every little thing you did that made their life easier. And suddenly, the regret hits like a freight train, because now they know they might have lost you for good. And nothing stings more than realizing too late just how much someone meant. But you gotta stay solid. Don't break the silence. Don't let their sudden burst of regret pull you back in before they've truly felt the loss. Let them stew in that void. Let them wrestle with the realization that your value was never up for debate. It was only misunderstood when they thought you'd always be there. Like Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, and when their thoughts are soaked in your absence, they won't be able to escape it. Your silence will speak louder than any words could. It'll echo in their mind, reminding them of what they lost every single day. But here's the kicker. Can you stay strong? Can you hold your ground and resist the urge to run back the moment they start to miss you? Because the second they feel your absence is the second you've already won. The power is back in your hands. If they crawl back, it's on your terms. And whether you take them back or not, that's your call. You're in control now. That's exactly what this video is about. How to stay grounded, keep your power, and resist the urge to respond too soon when they come knocking. It takes guts, patience, and the right mindset. But if you stick with me, I'll guide you through the whole process. Now, if you're ready to reclaim your power, smash that like button. It helps push this message out to more folks who need to hear it. And share this with someone who's still stuck waiting for attention they don't need. Say it with me. I am done waiting. Don't just whisper it. Drop it in the comments. Let the whole world know I am done waiting. Because guess what? The days of chasing are over. The only thing left to do now, stand tall, declare your worth, and let them find out the hard way that you were never anyone's backup plan. This is your moment. Own it. Step 1. Disappear without a trace. Listen up, folks. The first step isn't about causing a scene or making some big dramatic exit. No tantrums, no speeches, no last-minute explanations. This move? It's subtle, it's quiet, it's deliberate. This is what I call the vanishing act. You pull back slowly, like a shadow slipping out of the room, so smooth they won't even notice, until suddenly you're just gone. At first, they'll carry on like nothing's different. They'll think, they'll text me soon. They always do. This is exactly why you need to stay calm. In the beginning, the hardest battle will be with yourself. You'll feel that itch to reach out, to double-check if they still care. But don't trip up here. This isn't about getting a quick reaction. This is about setting the stage for something much bigger, something that will shift everything. Think of it like a whisper in a crowded room. At first, nobody notices. But as the noise dies down, that whisper becomes louder and louder until it's the only thing left echoing. That's what your silence will become. The first day without your message feels like nothing, just a quiet little blip on their radar. But as days go by, that silence starts gnawing at them, and soon enough, it's all they can think about. They'll brush it off at first. Oh, they must be busy. Or maybe they're just playing hard to get. They'll convince themselves it's temporary. But here's the twist. The longer you hold out, the harder it gets for them to ignore the void you've left. They'll scroll through their phone, realize your name hasn't popped up in days, and that's when a little thought creeps in. Why haven't they reached out? This is where the real test begins. You'll feel restless, tempted to send that, "Hey, just checking in" text. Your mind will play tricks on you, whispering, "What if they forget about me?" But this, right here, is where you flip the game. You're not disappearing to manipulate them. You're doing it to reclaim yourself. Every time that anxiety kicks in, remind yourself, I don't chase, I attract. It's not your job to manage how they feel. Let them sit in the silence. Let them feel the empty space you used to fill. The days will pass and something will shift. Slowly but surely, they'll realize your absence isn't temporary. It's intentional. You're not just taking a break, you're fading out. And it stings more than they thought it would. They'll check their phone more often, hoping to see your name light up their screen. They'll peek at your social media, wondering if you've moved on without them. And when they don't find what they're looking for, that's when doubt starts to creep in. They'll try little tricks to reel you back in. Maybe they'll like a couple of your posts, or send a casual, "Hey, how have you been?" text. But here's the golden rule. Don't bite too soon. A quick reply gives them exactly what they want. Confirmation that they still have a grip on you. Don't hand that power back over. Let them sit in the discomfort. Let them stew in the uncertainty. They need to feel the full weight of your absence. This isn't about mind games. It's about setting boundaries. It's about showing them, without words, that your presence is not guaranteed. You're not a backup plan. You don't owe anyone free access to your energy. Every day you resist the urge to reach out. Every time you hold your ground, you're teaching them a lesson they won't forget. You don't stay where you aren't valued. Eventually, the questions will overwhelm them. They'll start to wonder if you've moved on, if you've found someone else, or if you've simply outgrown them. And when the curiosity becomes unbearable, that's when they'll reach out. But this time, things are different. Now, the power is in your hands. The choice to respond or not is entirely up to you. But here's what you need to know. By the time they come looking for you, they'll realize that your silence was the loudest message of all. You're not waiting around in the wings anymore. You've already moved forward. Say it with me. I am done waiting. Speak it out loud. Write it down. Make it your truth. Because the moment you declare that you're done waiting is the moment the game changes. You're done handing out free access to your time, energy, and emotions. You're done chasing after people who can't see your worth. You don't need their attention to feel whole. This is the moment you reclaim your power. Let this affirmation be your anchor. Every time you feel tempted to check in, every time that urge to chase creeps in, remind yourself, I am done waiting. You've already taken the first step by pulling away. Now stick with it. Trust the process. Soon enough, they'll feel the weight of your absence. And when that realization hits, it'll cut deeper than any words ever could. Step 2. Pour your energy back into you. Reinvesting in yourself is where the real magic happens, folks. This isn't just about keeping busy to distract yourself. It's about shifting all that energy you wasted on them and pouring it right back into you. Every second you spent waiting on their reply, every thought you gave to what they were doing, who they were with, or when they'd care enough to notice you, that time and energy is yours now. You've been handing over your most valuable resources for free, and that stops today. You're done waiting. It's time to rebuild, refocus, and glow so bright they won't know what hit them. The life of someone who waits around for attention, it's over. From this moment forward, you are your own main priority. This isn't just some distraction to pass the time. This is a complete reinvention. You are building the version of yourself that you always knew you could be. The version of yourself that commands attention without chasing it. This is where everything shifts. When you pour all that time, love, and energy back into yourself, something incredible happens. You stop giving a damn if they notice. But trust me, they will. Oh, they will notice. See, when your focus is entirely on someone else, you drain yourself dry. But when you flip the script and reinvest in yourself, you create something magnetic. People can feel it when you're no longer running in circles for their approval. They can sense when you've let go, and it shakes them to the core. Suddenly, the dynamic shifts. You're not the one trying to fit into their life anymore. You're building your own, and that makes you untouchable. This isn't just about staying busy. It's about being intentional. Choose things that light you up. Hit the gym and get your body moving, not because you want them to notice, but because it feels good to take care of yourself. Pick up that hobby you always wanted to try, start a side hustle, dive deeper into your career, or make space for meaningful connections that lift you up. Whatever it is, it's for you. You're not doing this to get a reaction out of them. You're doing it because you're worth it. Every time you focus on your own growth, every time you invest in something that makes you feel alive, you're sending a message to the world and to yourself. I don't need to be validated by anyone else. I am enough on my own. And this is where your confidence starts to soar. When you feel good in your own skin, when you wake up excited about your life, you radiate a kind of energy that can't be ignored. It's not about being arrogant or showing off. It's about being so comfortable with who you are that their opinion no longer matters. Here's the kicker. The second you stop needing their validation, they'll start craving yours. It's human nature. People want what feels just out of reach, and when they see you glowing without them, it'll mess with their head. They'll wonder what's changed. They'll ask themselves why you're suddenly out of reach. And that curiosity, it'll pull them right back in. But by the time they start noticing, it won't even matter, because you'll be too busy enjoying the new, unstoppable version of yourself. This part won't be easy though. There will be moments when the old habits creep in, when you feel that familiar urge to check their social media or shoot them a quick message. You'll wonder if they've noticed how much you've changed, if they're curious, if they care. But that's not the point, is it? You're not building yourself back up to impress them. You're doing it to impress yourself. Every time those doubts creep in, remind yourself, I build for me. Say it out loud. Write it down. Let it become your new mantra. I build for me. When you start seeing results, and trust me, you will, they will notice. It might come in the form of a, "Hey, how have you been?" text, or maybe a comment on that glowing photo of you living your best life. They'll try to sneak back in, test the waters, see if you're still hooked. But this time, it's different. You're not the same person who was waiting around for their attention. You've outgrown that version of yourself. You're someone new, stronger, wiser, and way too busy loving your own life to care about what they think. Remember, this isn't about revenge. This isn't about making them miss you or playing some manipulative game. This is about becoming the kind of person you've always wanted to be. Someone who doesn't need anyone else to feel complete. And the best part? When you stop waiting for others to validate your worth, you'll attract people who see your value from the start. No games required. There will be moments when it gets tough. Moments when you feel like slipping back into old patterns. That's normal. Growth isn't linear. But every time you resist the urge to go back, every time you choose to move forward instead, you're proving to yourself that you're worth the effort. You're worth the investment. And that's where the real power lies. Not in what they think of you, but in how you see yourself. Say it with me. I build for me. Say it until it sinks in. This is your new reality. You're done waiting. You're done chasing. You're done handing over your energy to people who don't see your worth. Every moment you invest in yourself is a moment well spent, because at the end of the day, you are the one person who will always be there. You are your greatest asset, your own biggest investment, and your energy belongs to you. And here's the truth, folks. When you build for yourself, you don't just attract attention, you attract respect. The people who see your value will rise to meet you, and the ones who didn't, well, they'll have no choice but to watch from the sidelines as you thrive without them. Because you're not just moving on, you're leveling up. And that's something no one can take away from you. So remember, I build for me. Let that be your guide. Every day, every decision, every step forward, make it for you. And when they finally notice the glow-up they missed out on, it won't even matter, because by then, you'll have already moved on to bigger and better things. Step 3. Go silent and guard your online presence. Controlling your digital presence is one of the sharpest tools in your arsenal, folks. In today's world, everyone is glued to their phones, scrolling through social media feeds, checking stories, and lurking in the shadows of WhatsApp statuses. If you want them to miss you, if you really want to shift the dynamic, you've got to be strategic about how you show up, or don't show up, online. Here's the truth. The more predictable you are, the less intriguing you become. If you're always posting, sharing every thought, or updating your every move, they won't feel the shift when you pull away. But if you control what they see, or better yet, what they don't see, you'll leave them wondering, and that curiosity will mess with their head. When someone loses access to you, the first thing they'll do is check your social media. They'll want to see what you're up to, who you're with, and whether you're missing them as much as they're missing you. But here's the thing, you're not going to give them that satisfaction. Instead, you're going to create a controlled, intentional silence. That's where the magic lies. No posts, no updates, no statuses. They'll go searching and find nothing. And that nothing, it's going to drive them wild. The key is subtlety. You don't need to delete your accounts, block them, or go on a dramatic social media cleanse. That's way too obvious. Instead, you simply reduce your digital footprint. You slip into the background, leaving just enough mystery to keep them on their toes. If you usually post every day, scale it back. If your stories are always packed, leave them empty for a while. This isn't about ghosting completely. It's about becoming a question mark. And nothing sparks curiosity more than a question left unanswered. When they check your profile and see radio silence, their mind will start spinning. Why haven't they posted? What's going on? Are they seeing someone else? That empty space becomes a canvas for their imagination, and 9 times out of 10, they'll fill it with scenarios that drive them crazy. That's human nature. We crave information, especially when it's withheld. Now, here's the next level. You don't need to stay silent forever. In fact, a carefully timed, subtle post can amplify the effect. Drop hints, just enough to suggest that you're doing fine without them, but never enough to tell the full story. Post a scenic view, a casual photo with friends, or a vague caption like, "On to new things." These breadcrumbs are powerful. They won't scream, "Look at me." Instead, they'll whisper, "Something's changed." But what? And that's the hook. They'll keep coming back, trying to piece together a story that only you know. Whatever you do, don't post anything too staged or obvious. If it looks like you're trying to make them jealous, they'll see right through it, and the power shifts back to them. The goal here is subtlety and authenticity. Show just enough to spark curiosity, but not so much that they can figure you out. Let them stew in the uncertainty. Let them feel what it's like to no longer have easy access to your life. There's another layer to this. Control the urge to overshare. In today's world, it's second nature to post everything, from meals to moods. But every time you overshare, you hand over control of the narrative. When people know exactly what you're thinking or doing, they stop wondering. And when they stop wondering, they stop missing you. That's why you need to fight the temptation to post every thought or feeling. Your life is no longer a public story for them to follow. It's your private journey. Here's the real beauty of controlling your digital presence. It gives you the power to shift the dynamic without saying a word. They don't need to know if you're missing them, if you're struggling, or if you've moved on. And because they don't know, their mind will fill in the blanks. And trust me, they'll always assume the worst. They'll think you're out there thriving, glowing, living your best life without a second thought about them. And that thought, it'll sting. The less they know, the more they'll obsess. And the more they obsess, the more they'll miss you. It's as simple as that. But remember, This isn't about mind games or manipulation. This is about protecting your energy and keeping your personal life just that, personal. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your time, or your updates. Say it with me. I move in silence. This becomes your new mantra. You don't broadcast every move you make. You don't post to prove a point. You let your absence do the talking. Every time you resist the urge to overshare, every time you pull back just a little, you're reclaiming your power. This strategy won't just make them miss you, it'll shift how you see yourself. You'll realize that your life doesn't need to be validated by likes, comments, or attention from others. You don't need anyone checking in to feel whole. Your energy belongs to you, and so does your story. Control your digital presence. Move quietly, move intentionally, and watch how the narrative shifts. When they finally realize they've lost access to the version of you they once took for granted, it'll hit them hard. But by then, you'll be too busy living your life to care. And folks, we're almost halfway through this video, and if you're still with me, it means this message is resonating with you. So go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps push this message to others who need it too. And I encourage you to stick with me until the end, because today is the day we make some real changes. Stay locked in, accept this challenge to see it through, and let's finish what we started. Your breakthrough is just around the corner. Step 4. Send signals. They can't decode. Using subtle social signals is where you take things to the next level, folks. This isn't about blasting your life online or throwing obvious jabs to get their attention. Nope. The real power lies in keeping things mysterious. Just enough to make them wonder what's going on, but never enough for them to know for sure. When you master this, you plant little seeds of curiosity that grow into obsession. And before they know it, they're scrolling, watching, and guessing, trying to figure out if they've lost you for good. Here's the thing. People crave what they can't fully understand. If you disappear completely, they might assume you've moved on, but they won't have any mental hooks to keep them wondering. On the flip side, if you flood your feed with too much noise, they'll quickly piece things together and move on. That's why the sweet spot lies in dropping hints. Just enough to spark curiosity, but never enough to give away the full picture. It's about creating tension, not through over-the-top posts or dramatic captions, but with subtle, strategic signals that make them lean in closer. Post a photo with friends, a scenic view, or a cryptic caption like, "Some endings are just new beginnings." These little breadcrumbs will make them think, where are they? Who are they with? Are they seeing someone new? And that curiosity, it's going to eat away at them. The key to subtle signals is to stay authentic. If your posts feel forced, staged, or obviously aimed at making them jealous, they'll see right through it. This isn't about proving anything to them. It's about living your life and letting them see that you're doing just fine without them. Even better than fine. You're thriving. And the fact that they don't fully understand what's going on, that's what will drive them crazy. You don't need to post every day. Sometimes the most powerful message is in what you don't share. Maybe you skip posting for a few days, then come back with a simple photo of you smiling, out with friends, or exploring somewhere new. No explanation, no context. Just enough for them to wonder, are they really moving on? What's changed? Is there someone else? Every time they see a glimpse of your life, it'll remind them that they no longer have access to the full story. And that'll sting. They thought they had you all figured out, but now you're unpredictable. And nothing is more irresistible than the unknown. They'll find themselves scrolling through old posts, trying to read between the lines, checking your stories more than they care to admit. You'll know it's working when they start interacting with your posts. They might like a photo or drop a casual comment, testing the waters to see if you'll respond. But here's the golden rule. Don't be too quick to engage. A fast reply or overly enthusiastic response gives them what they want. Confirmation that they still have a hold on you. Keep it cool, keep it light. You're not ignoring them. You're just not giving them priority access anymore. And don't forget, folks, less is more. You don't need to post 100 updates to make an impact. A single well-timed post can do more damage than a flood of meaningless ones. The goal isn't to overwhelm them, it's to create just enough mystery to keep them hooked. But here's the trick. These social signals aren't about faking anything. You're not living for their reaction, you're living for yourself. You post when it feels right for you, not because you want them to notice. Every photo, every caption, every move you make online, it's for you first. If they catch on, great. If not, it doesn't matter, because your life isn't about them anymore. Say it with me. I move with purpose. This is your new mantra. Every post you make, every interaction you choose, it's intentional. You're not here to perform for anyone. You're here to build a life you love, a life that doesn't need external validation. And when they finally notice the shift, when they realize they're no longer in the loop, it'll hit them harder than you ever could with words. Remember, folks, subtlety is your best friend. Keep them guessing, wondering, obsessing over the parts of your life they no longer have access to. And when they try to reconnect, when they reach out to see if they still have a shot, you'll be the one deciding if they're worth your time, because by then you'll already know you don't need them. You've got everything you need right here within yourself. Step 5. Make them wait. Keep them guessing. Mastering the art of delayed responses is one of the sharpest moves in your playbook, folks. If you've always been the one to respond instantly, hanging on to every message like it's a lifeline, this step will feel like a complete shift. But trust me, this is where the magic happens. Every time you delay your response, you flip the dynamic. You make them wonder what's going on, and that little bit of wondering grows into a whole lot of frustration and longing. People crave what they can't easily access, and when you become unpredictable with your attention, you instantly become more valuable. Here's the truth. When someone knows they'll get an instant response from you, they stop appreciating it. They take your availability for granted, thinking they'll answer right away just like always. But when you delay that response, suddenly the game changes. They'll start questioning themselves. Why aren't they replying? Did I say something wrong? Are they with someone else? That gap of silence is where the power lies. It creates tension, and tension breeds interest. Picture this. They send you a message, expecting the usual quick reply. But this time, nothing. An hour passes, 2, maybe even a full day. That silence sits there, gnawing away at them. They'll keep checking their phone, scrolling through your messages, wondering what's changed. Why haven't they answered? And that question will stick with them, making them crave your attention even more. That's the power of delayed responses. It shifts the dynamic, making them work harder to earn your time. Now, here's the tricky part. The urge to respond immediately will hit hard, especially if their message feels important or if you've been waiting for it. But here's the thing. You're not ignoring them out of spite. You're showing them that your time is valuable. Your world doesn't stop the second they decide to text. And once they realize that, they'll think twice before taking your attention for granted. The key is to stay calm and collected. When you finally respond, hours or even a day later, keep it light. No apologies, no long-winded explanations. Just something simple like, "Hey, just saw this, what's up?" This sends a subtle message. You have a life outside of them, and they're not your top priority. You're in control of your time, and that makes you magnetic. This isn't about being rude or playing games. It's about setting boundaries and teaching them that your attention is earned, not handed out freely. If you respond the second they text, they'll never learn to value your time. But if you make them wait, that waiting builds anticipation, and anticipation creates emotional investment. Suddenly, every message you send carries more weight because it's not just expected, it's earned. They'll try to test the waters. Maybe they'll send a follow-up message or double text just to see if you're still there. But here's the golden rule. Don't give in too soon. If you respond too quickly, you undo all the work you've done. Let them feel that space. Let them wonder. They need to realize that they can't just waltz back into your life and expect immediate access to your time and attention. There's power in being unpredictable. If they can't predict when or how you'll respond, they'll start paying more attention to every little thing you say and do. That uncertainty, it's intoxicating. They'll hang on to your words, analyzing every response, waiting for the next message, because they know it won't come on their terms. And that's where you win. But here's the thing. This only works if you're genuine about it. You're not pretending to be busy just to mess with them. You are busy. You're living your life. You're focusing on your growth, your passions, and your goals. Your time is valuable, and your energy is precious. You don't owe anyone instant access to it, and you certainly don't owe anyone an explanation for your silence. Say it with me. I am in control. Every time you feel that urge to respond too quickly, repeat it. I am in control. Your time, your attention, and your energy are yours to manage. No one else gets to dictate when or how you respond. You're not playing hard to get. You've become hard to get. There's a difference. This isn't just a trick to make them miss you. It's a shift in how you view yourself. You're showing them and yourself that you are worth waiting for. Your attention is a privilege, not a right. And when they finally realize that, they'll start treating you differently. They'll start valuing the time and effort it takes to connect with you. Mastering the art of delayed responses isn't easy. It takes discipline. But every time you hold back, every time you resist the urge to reply instantly, you're reinforcing the message, I am in control. And when they finally do hear from you, it'll mean so much more. Because now, they know they can't take your attention for granted. And that's a lesson they won't forget anytime soon. Step 6. Become the unpredictable wild card. Embracing unpredictability is where things really start to click, folks. Predictability is boring. If they always know your next move, when you'll text, what you'll say, and how available you'll be, they stop thinking about you. Familiarity breeds complacency, and complacency is the enemy of attraction. To make them truly miss you, you've got to become a wild card. When they don't know what's coming next, they'll stay on edge, constantly wondering about you, and that curiosity will pull them closer, whether they like it or not. Here's the truth. People crave novelty. They get hooked on things that keep them guessing. When your moves become unpredictable, they lose that sense of control they thought they had over you. The dynamic shifts, and suddenly they're left wondering, why are they acting different? What's changed? This forces them to invest emotionally, even if they don't realize it at first. If you've always been the one to initiate conversations, stop. If you've always said yes to plans, start saying no without explanation. If you post on social media like clockwork, switch it up. Go silent for a few days and then casually drop a post that leaves them guessing, like big things ahead. No further details, no tags, nothing. That little bit of unpredictability creates mental friction, and friction is what makes people stay hooked. But don't mistake unpredictability for chaos. This isn't about acting erratic or playing mind games. It's about breaking patterns, introducing just enough mystery to keep them guessing without losing your authenticity. Maybe you cancel plans unexpectedly or take a few hours longer to respond to messages. These small shifts make a huge impact. They'll think they had you all figured out, but now they're second-guessing everything. The beauty of unpredictability is that it shows them that you're not living your life for them. You move on your own terms. They'll start to realize they can't control or predict your actions, and that realization will drive them mad. They'll spend more time wondering what's going on with you, and the more they wonder, the more they'll miss the version of you they once had easy access to. Here's where the magic happens. When someone has to work harder to figure you out, they become more invested. It's human nature. They'll start putting in effort to reconnect, to understand what changed, to see if they can still play a part in your life. But this time, the rules are different. You're not predictable anymore. You've become someone worth chasing. Say it with me. I am the wild card. This is your new mantra. Every time you feel tempted to fall back into old predictable patterns, repeat it. I am the wild card. Let it remind you that your life doesn't revolve around anyone else. You move with purpose on your own terms. And when they finally notice how unpredictable you've become, they'll realize that they never had you figured out. And that's when they'll miss you the most. Step 7. Hold the line. No early returns. Holding the line is where all the hard work pays off, folks. This is the moment when the real test begins, when they start noticing your absence and reach out, hoping to pull you back in. They'll try sweet words, friendly messages, or nostalgic memories to test the waters. This is where most people crumble, falling right back into old patterns. But not you. Not this time. This time, you hold the line. No early returns, no rushing back just because they finally decided to show up. It's going to be tough. The temptation will hit hard. You'll feel that rush of excitement when they text, thinking, finally, they noticed me. Maybe this time will be different. But here's the truth. If you cave in too soon, the dynamic resets. They'll fall right back into old habits, assuming you'll always be there, ready to respond the second they call. That's why you need to hold firm. They have to feel the full weight of your absence before anything can change. When they reach out, don't jump to respond. Let that message sit for a while, an hour, a day, maybe more. Remember, you've been working hard to reclaim your power, to build yourself back up. Don't throw all of that away for a fleeting moment of validation. Holding the line means standing by your boundaries, even when it feels uncomfortable. You're not punishing them, you're protecting yourself. And here's the beauty of it. The longer they sit with the uncertainty, the more they'll reflect on what they've lost. They'll realize that getting your attention again isn't as easy as they thought. That uncertainty is where the shift happens. It forces them to confront their feelings and decide whether they're ready to step up or stay out. Say it with me. I hold the line. This is your mantra. Every time you feel tempted to respond too soon or fall back into familiar habits. Repeat it. I hold the line. Let it remind you of the power you've regained, the progress you've made. Holding the line isn't about playing games. It's about valuing yourself enough to wait for what you truly deserve. And if they don't come back the way you hoped, that's fine. You're not waiting for anyone. You've already moved forward. Because holding the line isn't just about them, it's about you, knowing your worth and standing firm in your value, no matter what. So folks, this was it. Say it with me. I am done waiting. And don't just say it. This time, drop it in the comments. Let the world know you're reclaiming your power. If this message hit home, make sure to subscribe, like, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. There's no going back now. You've taken the first step toward living life on your terms. The days of waiting are over. Now, it's your time to rise. Stay strong, stay focused, and let them feel the weight of your absence. You've got this.